Okay, the word ger means around 3 or 4 different things, because there's another ger called a ger b'sharecha, which means a stranger within your gates, which there's a debate on what that actually means, right? But a ger agar is essentially a convert. What later became known as a ger toshav is an embellishment on the plain ger, which is allowed to eat animals that die on their own. This is the ger toshav, when the idea ger toshav doesn't appear like that in the Torah, but the notion is in the Torah. Okay, I mean, yeah, so those 3 notions are in the Torah, but the word ger just means stranger. So we always have to ask, what type of stranger? A ger hagar became ger tzedek. Okay, a regular ger who's not a Jew, who is allowed to live in the land of Israel by a different standard, this later became known as a ger toshav, but it was still a ger.
Somebody who's living there who's not a ger, he's a Canaanite. He's not a ger, is somebody who's trying to join the tribe.
No, Canaanites are not allowed to live in the land of Israel.
Oh, come on. We know that that's not true. Like there were Canaanites and everybody else living in the land the whole time. But there were everybody living there. There were Edomites, there were Canaanites, there were Moabites.
Yeah, but they were living outside of the law. According to the law, you can't be an idolater and live in the land of Israel, right?
Correct. So the ger is the one who's trying to join, and everybody else is not ger. Ger is the one who's becoming Israel. He's in the process.
Nowhere in the Torah, like, does it call converts gerim. Okay, I mean, it just doesn't say it. It talks about strangers.
Judaism says that they're converts.
No, colloquially, we're talking about
what does the Torah call convert?
The Torah doesn't have a word for convert.
No, it did. That's what ger is.
Ger is a boy.
Ger means something. It means stranger. You can't say stranger means convert. You have to attach some word to it. Stranger doesn't mean convert. Okay, there's no religion in the Torah to join, first of all. There are people in the covenant and outside the covenant. It says that there will be one law for the stranger that dwelled with you and to the person who's native born.
Agree with that.
Those are descriptive terms. So don't just say ger, use the word stranger. Okay, now a ger toshav, yes, the notion or that phrase ger toshav specifically doesn't appear in the Torah, but it's descriptive. Toshav means who resides, who lives in the land. This individual, if they're docile, when the Torah doesn't mention a standard for them, but the rabbis do, but you're allowed to give them meat that is unacceptable for you to eat because it died on its own. So the rabbis assumed that we're also to protect them and take care of them. Obviously, you're not going to take care of someone who's not docile or someone who thinks that they're in charge, right? So this is where the notion of a Noahide came from. But the idea is there. Ger toshav just means a stranger who lives among you. So it's a descriptive idea that's in the Torah, right? I mean, don't get stuck on these terms. But ger doesn't mean convert. Ger just means stranger. Nochri means foreigner, someone outside of the land. Back then, the notion of Israelite didn't really exist like it exists today. The people outside of the land, who had Jewish mothers, could also be considered a ger.
Oh, so it's based.
Right? There are different ideas floating around like this. I mean, Rashi says that Jews who live outside the land have the status of gerim. Because he says in that verse where it says "Va'aftem et ger," like to love the convert. Like he says, their ger means anyone from the outside who looks different, who acts different. Don't hate him because he looks different. You know, so
I'm confused because you just said they have to ger and translated as love the convert.
No, I just translated it like that because that's how people understand it. It just means love the stranger. That's all it means.
No, you said it yourself.